Saren, you grow up in a culture where specifically girls are told you don't go to school or you don't have to go to school. And you ended up living in Canada. Tell me about the first day when you arrived in Canada, coming from Cambodia.
Thank you, Jens. It was very memorable indeed. Now, I used to study in the US before I came to Canada, right? So I did visit Canada before coming this second trip to do my PhD.
Yeah.
So, but even then, like coming to the school, the first day that I arrived at the University of Guelph, I was just full of excitement. I was ecstatic. I was like, oh, look at this building, the building that represents University of Guelph here in Ontario. That looks really beautiful. And I took a picture and post on Facebook right away and say, look how far I come. I'm like, I'm here in University of Guelph in Canada. So like it was full of excitement. And yeah, I was so looking forward to what's coming next.
How was it like with your friends and with your family when you said, I'm doing my PhD in Canada? How did they react?
My mom specifically, like she couldn't believe it. She knew I was not an ordinary girl, like because I already received full scholarship to get a dual master degree in America before that, right? So she knew that I was gifted. But the fact that I'm as someone who come from a small village of Cambodia, um, got to got to go to Canada for PhD studies. That was like a dream come true for her. She found it like so unbelievable, and she was so proud of me. Although Asian mothers or Asian parents, they don't know how to say the word "I'm proud of you" or "I love you." They don't say that in front of their kids. They have their own way of
Yeah.
doing that, which is cook for you. Like cook and offer food for you. They don't actually say that, but you knew how proud they are by their expression, by the way they treated you. And my friends also, like they were also excited for me, and they said, "Oh wow, you're gonna become a doctor, like Doctor Keang or Doctor Keang." Exactly, my last name is not Keang; it's in our language, it's called Keang. So Doctor Keang, and they also were so proud of me, and they said, "Wow, how can you do all this?" So, like the question that I receive a lot is like, "How can you do all this?"
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's go a little bit into how you grew up for people to understand how different that is to, I mean, living in Ontario.
So I grew up from in a house where my parents had only 3 years. No, my mom had 3 years of education. My dad had 6 years of education. So with that low level of education, it was really hard for both of them to find a good job, especially in the context of Cambodia after the genocide. So Cambodia had the genocide between 1975 to 1979. And after that, like in the 80s and the 90s, Cambodia was still building the economy. So jobs were scarce. There's not enough job for the Cambodian people. And then not only that they didn't get a good job, my dad had arthritis and he wasn't able to walk and he was just in a lot of pain and staying in bed all the time. And my mom had to become the breadwinner with the little education she got from grade 3 education, right? So she couldn't get a job properly, so she had to sell food. She rode bicycle, bringing food from my market to like deep remote area and make profits around like 2.5 US dollar or 5 US dollar per day. It's usually if she get $5 per day, that's a lot. That's a lot of money for her already. So like with that small amount of money, and when I was little, of course we didn't have my younger daughter yet, right? Or my younger sister yet. So there were three of us, three daughters, and my parents, so five in the family. And so my mom had to raise us three daughters and paying for medical bills for my dad with that little $2.5 profit every day. So it was just not enough. And like she was getting into a lot of debt. We never had luxurious thing. Like I had only one pair of uniform to go to school, and I have to keep washing it every single day. And I can't just buy toys that I want. They never had money for me, right? There's no saving in the home. And we were really struggling a lot that by the time I turned 8, I had to have my mom start selling food as well because the income from my mom alone was not enough. So I had to start selling. In Cambodia, we have these river or lake clams. Like it's kind of seafood, but it's not seafood. But it looks like clams, and we call it lia, and we dry it under the sun. We call lihal. So I was selling that lihal under the sun. So I would sit under a table waiting for a customer to come and buy lihal from us, and it was hard. And that I did that after my school in the morning, and then I sold that lihal in the afternoon, and get like maybe sometime I made like the total amount that I made was like $3 or $5. So the profit would be just little than that. The total income was $5, so the profit would be like $1 or $2. And I gave everything to my mom to buy us food and pay for my father's medicine and all that. So we were struggling quite a lot.
And then there was one day where you decided you want to study. How was that?
Right.
How did the environment around you like react to that?
So, well, there was a lot going on, right? There was the gender biases. Like, people believe that they believe that girl can go to school for a little bit. They said they might need to be able to read a little bit, right? They said they can go to primary school, but they don't have to go to secondary school. They don't have to go to high school. Certainly don't need to get higher education. That's what they believe. They said boys can do that because they're boys. Girls will just end up being somebody's wives and taking care of the kids and cleaning and cooking. So girls' job is not to pursue higher education. And then that's the gender biases in the community. And then there's the economy constraint, my parents' financial constraint, right? That also like put us in a lot of pressure to not being able to focus in school. And in fact, my oldest sister, she was asked to quit school at grade 4. She was about to go to grade 5, and my parents asked her to quit. And then I was scared. I'm like, I started grade 1 already, I believe, when my older sister quit school. I was in grade 1, and so I started to get scared. I was like, is this gonna be my future too? Am I gonna be able to be pulled out? Am I gonna be pulled out from school too? But like no one told me anything about the power of education. But I just knew that this must be the only way out for me. If I don't want to if I don't want to end up like my mother or my older sister, like quitting school early and then get a business job that pretty much didn't allow them to earn much at all and struggling every day, getting into debt and just living on survival mode. I didn't want that kind of life. And there was nothing else for us. There was no other option besides education. All I could see, just the education, that was a way out for me. So I thought I had to work really hard. I had to fight this, no matter how poor we are or we were at that time. I had to keep going to school, and I have to prove to them that I did well in school so that they won't pull me out of school. So I did that. I worked so hard, and I was always top in class. And when they tell me boys are better than us, you girls are not as capable as boys, it didn't resonate with me because I was on top, right? I was top in the class. So I'm like, why are they saying the girls are not as capable as boys when I am actually the top student? So it's like there's some
Yeah.
sort of clash and something that I wasn't able to comprehend at that time.
Yeah, it's interesting. So you made it through school, and what was the jump towards university from that stage then?
So I after grade 12, I got a full scholarship to go to Bangladesh. It's called Asian University for Women. It's like it provides full scholarship to students from female students from all over Asia. And their mission is to empower young women from Asia to become future leaders. And I like that. You know, like back then, like people had a lot of sort of stereotypes toward Bangladesh. Like they think it's a poor country, it's not developed, why would you go there? But I didn't care about that perspective. All I knew is that I would be able to get full scholarship and I wouldn't have to like put pressure on my parents to look for money to support my education. And I'm gonna become a future leader. That's the part that excited me. So like I took the chance of getting on a flight for the first time, going to Malaysia and then to Bangladesh, and it was a whole different world for me. I didn't have to sell food while I finished school anymore. All my time was dedicated to studies. Like they cover everything, they cover tuition fee and everything, and there was free food for us as well, and we didn't even have to do the dishes. So all my time, I got that to like focus on my studies, improving my English and improving all my other skills, computer skill and all, right? So I enjoyed that life at the university too much that I didn't even miss my family that much. And later I knew that my parents were crying and missing me a lot, and I was like, really, I was just enjoying my studies. So it was a big shift from a girl who had to sell food in between days. And after I sold those clams, later when I get into grade 8 to between grade 8 to grade 12, I also go around to different Buddhist monasteries to sell chicken wings at night as well. Like we grill chicken wings, like just the egg. Like back then in Cambodia, chicken wings, the edge of the chicken wings were very affordable. So people like to buy that. So I grilled it and I lost sleep. At night I go sell it in different religious festival and I lost sleep. I wasn't about to focus on my study properly, but I still made it, right? So now I have all my time to study in the university that provides all sort of resources. And so like I was just enjoying my privilege so much. And I owe a lot of gratitude for Asian University for Women for helping me to get to where I am, being able to speak English and all that.
So how did you then end up in the US from there? Did you go home in between, or
I,
how was that?
I went home after I graduated from Asian University for Women in 2014. I went home and I worked a little bit. At the beginning, I took a job right away as a college and career counselor. But after that, I wanted to do something that is more challenging for me. So I went to the capital city and took a job as a researcher. I worked for BBC Media Action, Family Health International, the UNICEF, and I did different research or projects for them. And then I built a great resume as a researcher, right? So I and worked for different international organizations. So then my background was strong, and also like my passion is still there, right? My passion for education is still there. So when I wrote my personal statement, everyone has to listen, like how far I've come, right? From the background that I share with you all, like a struggling and humble background to get to Bangladesh and made it like I finished my degree one semester before all my peers and come back, become a researcher, like from somewhere in a small village of Cambodia where girls were not believed to be capable to somewhere as a researcher working for BBC Media Action and Family Health International. They're like, so my CV was just, or like my application for the scholarship to at the US was just so strong. Like I believe like when they read it, they just so inspired. So they gave me full scholarship to do a dual master degree at Brandeis University, 15 minutes from Boston. So yeah, it's a full
Nice.
scholarship. Yeah.
Yeah. So how did your sisters react at that time?
I think for them it's kind of really like it's like almost like abstract because like for them just to be being about to complete high school was already super challenging, and for me to be about to like go from high school to Bangladesh, then now going to Boston, like they were not about to understand how I did all that, and they give up on asking. They're like, I don't understand anymore. I don't know how you did it. So I'm just gonna start asking. But I'm just gonna say like I'm proud of you. And then like they didn't understand the process of how I made it. And it would take this thick of book to explain them all my process and how I did it. And even then they wouldn't be able to read it all because if I were to write in English, right? But
Yeah.
maybe I can write in my language for them to understand. But they can't relate. They
Yeah.
can't relate. They can't relate to my journey at all. So my first sister finished quit school at grade 4. My second sister managed to finish grade 12, fortunately. So she's at least she's able to read and write properly, right? And my youngest sister, for some reason, I was in Bangladesh. She quit school at grade 9. So none of them had been to college. I'm the first one who has been to college and has been has completed master degrees.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
If we take this into your village, so that if you're the person that has managed to do these educational steps and you look back, what do you think is the differentiator between you and the others? Not in a negative way, more in what can other girls learn from you?
Jens, I must say there's a real impact from my experience. Like I'm gonna give a real example. There's sort of an older lady, older than my parents, living at the back of our house. So we are a village. We don't even have fences, right? Everyone knows about each other. So by the time that I went to Bangladesh, the whole village were like, wow. They are like, what's happening? Has never been seen before. And so like that old lady, when I was young, when I was in primary school, she used to come tell my parents, uh Run Run. So that's the name of my parents, right? Run and Run. And they said, Run Run, just take your girls out of school. There's no point. There's no point of keeping them in school while you don't know if they're gonna even pass grade 12 or not. So like grade 12 is the national exam that's very hard. So like some people don't pass it, right? So they said, you don't even know if they're gonna pass it. Better let them start selling food or fruits in front of the market. Like the market is like nearby to our house. So they said, just let them start selling fruits. And that same old lady, and that now after I got to Bangladesh and I returned home for summer project, um, I returned home for a summer project, and she brought her granddaughter here, and she showed me, hey, look, my granddaughter now is in grade 7. I want her to be like you. I want her to be able to go abroad and study higher education. And I was like, oh, I was so touched. I was so touched. Like the real example of how one role model or one example can change the whole village or the whole community. That just like made my heart smile.
Yeah, that's amazing. Do
Yeah.
you know anyone inside of the village that is now kind of following your footsteps?
I had heard that there are some mothers who name their kids after me.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, they name their daughters after me because they want their daughters to follow my footsteps and be about to be as successful, even though I still think I'm not that successful enough. So like to be successful as me. And yes, there are less conversation about girls not being capable now. I don't hear that much anymore. Maybe like a more remote area than my village. Like even though I was living in a village, there were more other even more remote part of the country that still hold on to those gender bias perspective, right? But at
Yeah.
least in my village and the surrounding, now they don't even talk about girls not deserving to go to school anymore. They just let the girls go into school. There's no question anymore.
Yeah, that's nice to hear. So
Yeah.
then you started in the US, the master.
Yeah.
How was that for you? How did you experiencing that? Like almost, let's call it freedom is maybe the wrong word, but it's kind of you being in an environment where everything is completely different than whatever you have experienced before.
Wow. America was a whole new world to me for sure. Um, And like I see, like what amazed me the most, Jens, because I came from a village where men were the leaders, where men were the professional, men were the CEO, men were the doctor, director, doctors. So I saw men as the one who are high up. But when I came to the US, I've seen like very confident female professors. I went to conferences and I see speakers who were women who talk confidently and like they're leaders in their field. And that was the most beautiful thing that I enjoy the most being in the US is to see female leaders talking and sharing their expertise confidently. And I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be able to like go on stage and like talk confidently and make an impact. That was the main thing that I was really inspired by living in the US. Another thing, of course, like you said, freedom, like just to be able to like walk at night from where you live to school whenever you need to go to the library or use the computer resources and all. I can walk alone at night to go to school, right? And not having to worry about my safety, which in Cambodia, for us women, walking alone at night is still not that common yet. Like there's a lot of fear of safety or being bullied or even like sexual harassment and all that. So that was another thing that I truly sort of appreciate about living in the US. And of course, like from a small village in Cambodia where you only farm and me selling food on the street to sitting luxuriously in beautiful bright classroom with a big library with all the resources. It was all like it was too much to take, but it was also positive, right? Like I didn't. At time I was like, I was pinching myself, like, am I really in the U.S.? And when I went to visit the White House, I was like, really? Like, this has been a place that many the U.S. president have been doing amazing work, taking lead on the political affair in all over the world, and I'm now standing right in front of this building that I only dreamt of when I was little, you know. So
Yeah.
it was too unbelievable.
So then there was this difficult day in 2023, I think it was in January. What
Yeah.
happened?
So I came to the Canada to do a PhD in 2021. I was doing some coursework in 2022, and then things were going well. Either I was a little I was starting to get new symptom of feeling sleepy all the time and feeling fatigued, like tired all the time. But I wasn't aware that it was going to be a serious issue. You know, I thought I was just like burnout or something, right? Or stress or something. And then I think it started in 2022 around September, October, that I started to feeling all this fatigue and sleepiness, over sleepiness. And then in January of 2023, I just all of a sudden I got a call from my family doctor from the university that I need to go to the emergency room because my blood will show a serious concern. And they didn't tell me what concern that was. I went to the emergency room and they said, the creatinine level, which is the level that show the function of the kidney, is significantly dropped down. And I was like, kidney? Like, I barely thought about my kidney at all before before that day. Like, I never thought about it at all. And then they said, we have to keep monitoring you because now it's like it's quite low. And that was in January 2023. And then by March 2023, I went to do a biopsy to further investigate the kidney function. And they said my kidney had dropped to 33%. I didn't know what level it was in January, but by 2 months, in 2 months, it has dropped to 33%. And in March, it dropped to 8%, and I started dialysis right away. They put me on dialysis right away, and all my dreams were all like shattered. I started dialysis 3 times a week, 4 hours a day, and I don't drive, so I had to take the here in Canada we call it the mobility bus, where they transport patient or sort of people with disability, and they charge us the same fees as if you were to take the government bus, the public bus. So it's like just like $3.25 for per trip, and they came to pick me. But these buses they pick people along the way, and so total, including like getting on the bus and coming back with the bus, I spend nearly 6 hours per day, three days a week to do dialysis and getting there. And so and it took a deep toll on my health because I was just fatigued all the time and I had a lot of migraines, nausea, vomiting, and it was just too hard for my body that I thought I wouldn't be able to be successful in this PhD journey. So I made a hard decision. I was thinking about it for quite a long time. Like, what am I going to do with this degree? Will I be able to complete it by 4 years as planned? You know, like I just, and it looks like it might be really difficult. And if I want to focus on getting better, I might have to put a pause on this. So I decided to transfer my credits that I have in 2022 and 2021 to another master degree only so that I can just wrap up the coursework and just write a master thesis, which is much less challenging compared to a PhD dissertation, you know? So I did that, and so I got my third master degree. So now I have 3 master degrees, no PhD yet. I might go back to do a PhD though.
Yeah. So what happened then after you were diagnosed and need to go to dialysis all the time? So you did your master degrees still next to all of this, like you kept on studying, you kept on.
I had to complete 2 more classes and do they don't call it a master thesis, they call it in web they have 2 options. They have a thesis which was supposed to be much more challenging, and they have a major research paper. So I chose the route of doing the major research paper. So So that major research paper and 2 classes kept me in school for another year. Kept me in school for another year while doing dialysis. So in 2023, while doing dialysis, I was still taking classes and writing the major research paper on the side. So I would wake up, eat, take my medicine, had breakfast, take lunch, and then went for dialysis and came back and work on the major research paper at night. If I had enough energy in the morning, I took breakfast and took medication and worked on the major research paper a little bit in the morning, then went for dialysis and came back and rested. So either I work on the major research paper in the morning or at night, either before the dialysis or after dialysis. I can do both because I just simply didn't have the energy.
And then 2026 came around. What happened?
Great news. I had my transplant almost 5 months ago in February. February 11, I got a call. They said they had a kidney for me. They said they had a kidney for me that totally matched my blood type and my they call it antibody. So and they called me like on the 9th. I got to the hospital on the 10th in February, and around 1 a.m. or around a little bit over 1 a.m. on the 11th, my operation took place. My surgery took place, and it was like a day I would never forget. I was waiting for the doctor to come get me for the doctor or the nurse to come get me for like about 15 hours. I think I got to the hospital on the 10th since the morning. And then I was waiting, and they said the kidney was on the way, And I was like, is it gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? I was like, I wasn't sure if it's truly gonna happen, like I was on the edge of like, what is like there's something changes. The kidney is no longer good anymore, right? And then by 1 a.m. the surgeon came personally to me and I was sleeping. He woke me up and was like, we're gonna do the surgery, the operation in 5 minutes. I'm like, Doc, is it really gonna happen now? He said yes. And I was like, I went to the surgery 5-6 hours later. I woke up and the surgeon said everything went well and I was ready to go to the recovery room. And the 5 days post surgery was so challenging. There were a lot going on. I had a tube on my neck. I had the urine catheter. I had a lot of IV putting fluid in my body. They checked my blood sugar. They checking my weight. The nurse came to take out the urine. They follow my they did my blood work every single day. And the medicine, Jen, over 20 pills per day. And like and I didn't have a minute to myself the 5 day post surgery. That was a shock to me. All along I was just thinking about the surgery itself, how painful it was gonna be, whether it was gonna be successful. I didn't think about the post surgery in the hospital at all. And
Yeah.
that was a shock to me. It was like it was so challenging. I cried. I was sad most of the time. I was so emotional. One of the medicine I was taking was also like affecting my mood a lot. It's called prednisone. And
Yeah.
that one put me in like sad mood a lot. Like so I was just so sad in the hospital. But after that 5 days and I came home, thing turned out beautifully. I started to recover so fast. I was feeling better and I was starting to have more energy again. And now 5 months, I feel like I never had a kidney failure before, like I feel great.
Do you still need to go to checkups all the time, or how is it now?
Right now, once a month, I
Yeah.
have to go for follow-up once a month. And the hospital is in a different city. It's in London. It's 1.5 hours from where I live.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still manageable
Still manageable, yeah.
with
I
new
still,
energy at least.
yeah, with new energy. I still don't drive though, so my husband has to take me. I
Yeah.
ha- I keep failing the driving test in Canada twice. I told people, I can study, I can achieve master degree, I can read, I can talk, you can make me do all that, but driving is just not my thing.
That's okay. That's okay. You have your husband that can drive.
Yeah.
So tell me about the book. So A Long Way from Home. How did this come about?
My first book was different from the second book. the title A Long Way From Home. I had it in my head all along. Like ever since I was in America, I think I put the title on Google Doc A Long Way From Home, and I never really wrote anything on it. I put the title in since 2016, and I just left it there. I just knew that this book has to be called A Long Way From Home, given how my background came from a small village of Cambodia where I barely had any money to pay to buy candies or a piece of toy, to somebody who got to see Boston, got to see the White House, got to speak alongside the former First Lady of the UK, Cherry Blair, which is a conference at Texas that I went to, and I got to also participate at the sort of youth assembly and the United Nations Assembly in New York. Like all of that was just like it show already like how far I've come, you know. So
Yeah.
that title, like it was there a long time ago, that A Long Way From Home. I always knew my first book was gonna be named that A Long Way From Home. I always knew. Unlike my second book, which I believe you might ask later. So the second book, I didn't know what the title was gonna be. Right before I sent it to my editor, that's when I put the title.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So for the listeners, what is the book about?
A Long Way From Home?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I narrated the stories from where I came from. I talk about a little bit of my background from my village, how I studied by using a lantern. They call it Karisan lantern, right? Using a Karisan lantern to study. I was selling lihal on a clam. I was selling chicken wings, and was running under the rain carrying the stove burning my hand. I was sleeping next to the nun in a Buddhist pagoda, and then later my journey, how I win the scholarship to go to to Bangladesh, what I accomplished in Bangladesh, getting that degree, and also like build my personality and build my character as the whole from that university. I also had a story about my father had to sell a cow for me to be able to buy my first laptop. You know, like we had to trade a big cow for a small laptop. I got a small laptop. I think it's 11-inch. Like that was my first laptop, tiny one, and it was frozen a lot. Like I had to deal with like it being so slow, or whenever I travel, and the battery was just burned so high, like it was so hot, and I had to like restart, putting it in front of the fan for a while to be able to use. You know, from that kind of background to somebody who get to travel all over the U.S., spoke alongside the former First Lady of the UK and Japan, and got to speak at the United Nations Assembly in New York, and like the journey of also that time when I was in America, I was also working on a project to mentor young women from Cambodia who come from the rural area, who didn't have role models or guidance on how to apply for scholarship or go to how to choose a major in college and all that. So I was acting as a mentor and co-founder for that project called Then in Cambodia. So like writing about all that, you know, like from my very humble background to
Yeah.
where I was at that time. So that book was my journey from I was small until America. So nothing about Canada yet.
Yeah. But what is interesting, like, how do you share it? Because if I understand you right, the most of the girls in your village are not able to read that book, right?
Not now. Now they speak better English. Like
Yeah.
yeah, like when I was little at the age, like when I was in primary school and secondary school, only few people in my village that knows English, that know English, that knew English or can speak English. But now English is a new phenomenon in the country. Everyone knows it brings you somewhere else, like takes you far because of English. So now everyone, at least people who are from the village, at least they can converse with a foreigner like for like 5 or 10 minutes.
Yeah.
They know how to speak now. But I know that writing in English might limit some of my audience, and that is what I am working on now. I'm working to translate that into my language, which is called Khmer, so that I can reach even a bigger audience.
Be interesting doing a movie about it so that they can watch it.
Oh, I would love that.
So if anyone is listening to this and you think that's a cool movie, reach out to Saren.
Yes, please.
So tell us about your second book.
My second book, like I said, I didn't know what it was going to be called.
Yeah.
But I knew I had to tell my stories of how I have dealt with kidney failure and my second diagnosis, which is a mental health thing, which is a bipolar disorder. I know some people are not open to share about their mental health diagnosis, but I'm okay with that. I would like to raise awareness about mental health issues. Like I am an advocate. At least I'm not doing it enough yet, but I am trying to be a real advocate for mental health because, like, in most part of the world, we still find it like a taboo. When someone has a manic episode, a psychotic episode, you think that they're crazy, you think they're faking it, and you don't want to talk openly about it, right? And it's definitely true in my country, Cambodia. Like when I had so I had my first manic or psychotic episode in the US while I was writing my master thesis in 2017. Um, I just lost the sense of reality. I was following an old man along the racetrack. He was doing exercise along the racetrack, and I was following him because I thought he looked like my father. And I lost my father in 2015 due to a road accident. And so, like, I was still grieving. I was still grieving significantly, missing him every day. And when I saw that old man, I thought he was wearing a watch like my father. He was walking the same way as my father. My father had arthritis, so he became disabled, so he doesn't walk steadily.
Yeah.
So that man was walking like my dad, and I was following that man. And I kept insisting that that man took a break and take some water. And I follow him to his home just to insist that he take some water. Like I care about him as if he was my own dad. So, and I didn't leave his house. I kept knocking on his door to let me in, and then he called the cops. He called the cops on me.
Yeah.
He called the cops on me, and the cops came with like an ambulance, and they interviewing me, and they knew that I was losing the sense of reality, and they brought me to the mental health hospital, and that's when they diagnosed me with bipolar disorder 1. Um, and and then when I went home after I finished my master, I had 2 more episodes in Cambodia, and people were thinking that I was gonna become a crazy woman walking on the street, possibly like walking naked, maybe because they've seen that kind of people, the people who have lost sense of reality and just walk on the street yelling and all that. So they thought I was never gonna get better, but like I proved them wrong, or at least my family at that time proved them wrong. They took care of me. They put me in a Buddhist pagoda to receive water blessing, but at the same time they also went to mental health clinic to get medicine for me from the capital city. So they would take care of me in the Buddhist pagoda in the daytime, and at night when I fell asleep, my older sister would take the bus to go to the capital city, which is 6 hours, to go to the capital city and pick up the medication for me from that mental health clinic. That was quite sort of the leading clinic in Cambodia. So I was doing both traditional healing treatment and taking the medicine to get better. So after a little bit over a month, I got better with the first episode. And then next year, had another episode, and it took me another month to get better. So like I was going through all that, and the experience was quite unique to the Western eyes. How I was drinking herbs, how I was getting water blessing from a monk, and all that. So I felt the need to like share this kind of cultural experience as well, alongside with the kidney failure. And I want to prove to like people who are going through hard time that no matter what you are going through, if you keep fighting, if you believing that you can get out of it, and you keep pushing through and believing in yourself and believing in that you'll get better, there's a way for you out there. Like for me, nobody thought I was gonna get better. They thought I was gonna stay crazy like that. Had the kidney failure too, like I to go through the dialysis for nearly 3 years at this young age. Like I lost my life. I didn't get to see friends. I didn't get to go to party because whenever they invite me for something, it almost always fall on my dialysis time, and I cannot skip dialysis for one day. If I skip for 3 days, I'll die.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
3 days, I'll die. So, like I was building my life around dialysis, and it was so challenging. And then I was also, um, like going through a lot with the bipolar. So I wanted to share this story of me dealing with these 2 diseases to inspire people out there who are dealing with mental health issue, who are dealing with chronic issues such as kidney failure or maybe other like cancer or other thing, to not give up. I wanted to inspire them to not give up. That was my main goal for the second book. And like I said, before I sent to my editor, I didn't have a title for this book yet. I was leaning toward a survivor or Cambodian survivor or like I think another one was like um some other title. I don't remember now, but like at the end I chose Beating the Odds. And
Yeah.
that was like last minute title.
That's good one.
Yeah.
The inspiration is really like you have so many facets where people can learn from. One part is like the little girls that are starting school in, doesn't matter where in the world, don't need to be even Cambodia. I think it's even in the Western world, to see that whatever you want to achieve, you can achieve if you keep on working and never stop. And I think that is also shown with all the health issues that you had in between, and crossing borders, going to other countries, pursuing education as one of the things for yourself. So what's next for you in the coming years?
I wanna be a public speaker. I wanna write more books, and I definitely wanna empower women. So the past couple months after I got better from the transplant, I have joined a nonprofit called Immigrant Women in Business and Guelph Women in Networking, Guelph and Wellington Women in Networking. So these two organizations are helping me build um, platforms and my brand, my landing brand as a speaker and as a mentor. So Immigrant Women in Business is helping me building my website and helping me getting in touch to different people, including you, Jens, the founder of Immigrant Women in Business, introduced me to
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's how I got in touch with you. And so she's amazing, Svetlana. She has strong network from all over the world, and she's introducing me to different people. And now she's putting me as the program lead for the upcoming summit or conference about women with disability. Like me, as someone who had bipolar disorder or someone who had gone through kidney failure, I'm also considered as someone who is disabled. It's just invisible disable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Invisible disability. So she would like me to take a lead on having that conference on December 3rd. But even before December 3rd, we have an event coming up on July 30th where I'm going to be on a panel talking about financial inclusion for women with disability. That is a starting point for me to build my brand, build my name as a public speaker. After a while, I was a public speaker in the US. I mentioned I was talking alongside Thierry Blair and Aki Abe, right? The former
Yeah.
First Lady of Japan and the UK. Yes. But then, like, I was laying low for a while because I was sick. But that's not my passion. I don't want to lay low. I like to be on the spotlight. I want people to know these women that have come through so much and have gone through a lot of challenges and still stand tall, still stand strong. I want to inspire people from all over the world. So being a public speaker is my main goal. I want to develop that sort of that pathway for myself as a public speaker who inspire young girls and young women from all over the world. That's my main goal. While continue to write more books because I still feel like writing can leave a legacy behind even when you're gone, right?
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
when you're gone, your book would still be there. So I will still continue to write and I will continue to seek for other networking and other inspiring people, learn from them and see whether I can establish something more concrete to empower young girls from Asia, maybe starting with Asia and then expand it to Africa and then all over the world to sort of something along the line of Girl Leadership Academy or sort of like women empowerment mentorship, something along this line. That's my next goal.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you will crush that.
Thank you.
With
Thank
the
you.
energy that you have, I'm pretty sure it's going to happen. So big call to action for everyone listening or watching this somewhere. If you want to reach out to Saren, there will be links in the show notes wherever you find this, and you can reach out to her, connect to her, see if there are opportunities. Saren, thank you very much for spending the time with me. It was fascinating to get to know you over the last couple of weeks, and I'm really looking forward to follow your story, read your books, and see where you are helping people in mental health, but as well the little girls. Like my daughter is 8 right now.
Oh, wow.
She needs
Yeah.
inspiring leaders like yourself. So thank you very much for spending the time with me on the podcast.
Thank you, Jens, for giving me the opportunity to be able to share my story in your platform. Thank you so much for your hard work for building this platform.